Hi guys, sorry about my hair. My bangs are in this phase where they're growing out and part of them don't want to, as you can see, one is really cute and it doesn't want to look flat, so my hair looks awful. So this is a little weird. I have this plan for the most part when I not do anything to once a week do just like a little quick update to let you guys know what the week has been like, because pretty much this is what it is, just me standing in my room, and I think you guys are getting bored by that. And I decided to do it Saturday, and I had filmed Saturday. I did do an entry Saturday that was going to be posted today. However, I actually broke down and had a little, like, really kind of blah and depressing moment. I'm like, and I was sitting there last night, I'm like, I don't want to put that in the vlog. I know I'm trying to be optimistic and be like, yay, you can still, positive thinking and all that stuff. I don't want you guys, and it's real life, but I didn't want to put that. So I scrapped it and decided I'll just film a quick one on Sunday morning because we're not going to church today. The weather is, it's nah. I don't know how to describe the weather. It's not exactly cold. It's like about 40 degrees, but we are under a high wind warning. And if you would ask me what weather alerts we tend to get the most in Michigan, it's usually anything to do with the wind. And again, I think that's simply because of a product. Michigan is made up of 2 peninsulas. There's water pretty much everywhere, so it's generally very rarely. It happens more often in the Lower Peninsula where we don't have wind, but it's usually slightly breezy or windy. It's like it's very rarely not windy. If you go up to Mackinac Island, especially if you guys watch my vlogs, especially when I go up to the West Bluff and stuff like that, it is windy. And on Mackinac Island, it's like there's never a day where it is not windy. So that's Michigan on steroids in terms of wind. So usually it's wind alerts we get the most of. And in fact, we are under a high wind warning. You guys probably can't tell how the trees are moving out there, but it's a high wind warning, and it started at 7 a.m. and it goes to 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. And they are predicting the winds are supposed to hold steady for the most part, about 25 miles per hour. Not that bad, not exactly a case for a wind warning, except that they're also saying wind gusting, in some cases sustained gust of 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's like hurricane force winds. They're calling this a bomb cyclone. And they're saying, you know, look for widespread power outages, dangerous conditions. They are like blizzard warnings north of us because we're just getting the southern edge of the storm, which is pretty much wind and some rain, and north of us they are getting wind and snow. It is so bad that the Mackinac Bridge just sent out a text alert saying they have closed the bridge due to falling ice, which is usually one of the most common things it's closed for around this time of year, is falling ice, and also the conditions. So it's so windy that they're not even running the bridge, and they run the bridge in pretty high winds. So the bridge is closed, and it's just windy down here. It's like been kind of windy off and on. We've had a few gusts, nothing major. I told my friends online last night, I'm really hoping our power doesn't go off today. And they're like, huh? And I'm like, it's actually, they live in Belgium, and in Europe, apparently all the power cables are buried underground. And since I live in the States, that's not actually a thing lots of places do, which I think is weird in Michigan, where we get wind like this a lot. And then, of course, during the winter, you have the snow and the ice, and you can't see them, the snow and the ice that pile on the power cables. And we can get some pretty nasty thunderstorms here, too. So it's like, that's one of the reasons I'm like, why aren't the power cables like buried underground here? Because of all the weather we get that can affect power. And in fact, it is actually very common here in the state of Michigan to lose power, especially during the winter. There are a ton of power outages, and I remember when I was younger and I lived out in the country, we lost our power a lot. So it's kind of weird to me that Michigan hasn't experimented with burying power lines underground because of what weather we do get. So weather is kind of, it's not bad, it's not great. I will say I'd rather take a high wind warning over a thunderstorm warning anytime, or even a blizzard winter storm warning or anything like that. I'd rather take this over anything like that. And as for power outages going out, I'm not that concerned. about us losing our power and then not getting it back on. I'm sure you guys have seen when I've stood over the window and you guys have seen the road I live on. This is kind of classified as a highway. I think we call it, it's like a major road. But because of this is a main route for ambulances and fire trucks and emergency vehicles. And there's a ton of businesses on there. We have restaurants on this street. There's medical, like there's a ton of stuff on this street. So it's very rare when we lose power that we don't get it back right away because of everything that's on the street and how much it is used, because it is a big main traffic route. The only time we've ever lost power and it took a while to get back on was, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. This like late storm came through like a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. I remember it because we had decided that day, we decided we were going to take all our laundry, and we went to the laundromat on the other side of town, and I actually have it on Instagram. If you go back and scroll down, I have it posted on Instagram. That was the perfect day to do laundry. It was cloudy, it was yucky, it was not, and we weren't really paying attention to the weather. We got the laundry done, we came home. I actually just dumped my laundry in the middle of my room. I really didn't feel like folding it and putting it away. And so I just dumped it in the middle of the room. Then all of a sudden it got insanely windy. It got insanely stormy and insanely rainy, and the sky like turned a yellow color. And we're just standing here, and then all of a sudden the storm just comes out of nowhere, plows through the city. And it was like less than 15 minutes or something, around dinner time, plows through the city. And we're like, what the heck? And it was just raining and stuff. It's like horrible. Our power goes out. And my mom's like, ah, frick. We didn't have flashlights. We didn't have lanterns. We didn't have anything like that. So my mom grabs my brother and I, piles us into the car, drives us out to Walmart, and we're realizing that, oh, this is not good. There's no power where we are. Like the traffic lights aren't working, anything. And so we drive out to Walmart, get a ton of stuff. My mom buys food. Because we're out and we're just realizing, holy cow, this storm is really bad. And so we get like food that doesn't need to be refrigerated, stuff like that. Like I got my favorite pizza loaf, which you don't do anymore at Walmart. That makes me sad. And we pile back in the car. We get back, and there are police putting flares down at the corner here. We pull in, and we get out of the car, and we start trying to put together the lights and lanterns. And then the building manager at the time came over and said, for safety reasons, if once we're in, she doesn't want us leaving the rest of the night. Like, unless we absolutely have to, we had to stay inside till the next day because it was just a safety issue and the cops were asking her to do that. So we had to stay inside, and and it was so bad that usually, like I said, power is back on here within like an hour if it goes out. Within an hour, we usually have power back. We didn't have power. We did not have power that night. The next day, I want to say we didn't have it till the day after, so we went almost a day and a half without power here, but that was really rare. That was like once, and it never has happened again. So, but yeah, it's kind of weird, when we don't have power, so, in fact, it was so bad, and it was November, so it was cold. My dad's like, hey, if you guys need a place to stay, you can come stay at my apartment, because, my dad had power, because it seemed to be like only certain sections of the city, so like this section had power, and then like another section, so it's this thing where only certain sections will lose power. My dad didn't lose power, we did, but that was interesting. So yeah, so hi. So we're just hunkering down for the most part today, chilling out. And like I said, I didn't do anything last week. The main reason I'm restreaming this is the main reason I lost it was because I had gotten my work schedule for the first full week of March, and I have talked to you guys about this before. I'm only working 1 day a week for 4 hours, and it's very frustrating to me because I have told one of the supervisors / managers, my friend Ben, who works there. He came out and asked me a few weeks ago if I liked working 1 day a week. I'm not going to complain. Sometimes working 1 day a week is awesome because it means I have more time to do stuff. However, I'm the type of person where I would much rather be working more because I just came from this place where I was supporting myself. I was on Mackinac Island last year for a few months. And I was full on supporting myself. I was paying for my own food, paying for my own clothes, stuff like that. And so to come home and now work at a job where I'm not able to do that kind of crushes my spirit because I don't want to depend on my mom for everything. I mean, I'm living in her apartment, obviously, but still, there's stuff I can do. I don't want her to be paying for my favorite foods or my health and beauty products, stuff like that. I want to be able to support myself so she doesn't have to spend all her money on me. And when I first started at Staples, it was great. I was working almost 30 hours a week, and then slowly but surely, after back to school, my hours started getting cut. And then after Christmas, my hours got really cut. Before Christmas, I was working between 1 and 2 days a week, sometimes 3. So I was working about 8 to 12 hours a week. And then after Christmas, like the middle of January, they just cut me down to 1 day, 4 hours a week. And that's really frustrating to me because I know I'm a good worker. I work very hard at my job. I enjoy interacting with the public and stuff. And so it's frustrating is I know how they're doing my hours, and it makes me really mad. And I'm just so frustrated by this whole situation that it does make it hard for me sometimes to stay optimistic. And so I am currently job hunting. I have talked about this. I'm trying so hard to find a job. I've only heard back from 2 places, an automatic no, and we would like to interview, but further research into that business realized it would not be a smart fit for me. So I'm very frustrated by the lack of responses I have gotten, and it's not like this is my first job. I have been working for about 5 or 6 years. I have about 4 to 6 years of retail customer service experience. So I know I'm a good worker. I know I have this experience companies are looking for. It's just that I'm finding it so difficult to get a job. I mean, I open up my availability. I am doing everything I can, and it still feels like it is next to impossible for me to get a job in the city of Midland. You know, I applied for 2 different jobs working with the Loons as a ticket salesperson. Haven't heard back. Games start in April. I applied to work with the company Levy's that does their food for Dow Diamond and the restaurants nearby, and to learn their cash room associate. I have a financial degree. I have a degree in accounting. I'm an associate. But not only did I never hear back from them, a couple days ago, I noticed that they reposted the job I had applied for on Indeed. So that has just got me really frustrated. And it's not like this process was the easiest. It was really confusing to apply for the Loons. So I'm really kind of frustrated at this point. I could apply to work at Dow Gardens again. However, that's another point of frustration is anytime I have tried to apply to work for something, Dow Gardens, not Center for the Arts, the Gracie Dow Library, it's been very frustrating because I just get a no. And the thing is that I've gone to these interviews, they've been very positive. The one for Dow Gardens, they said, we'd really like to work with you and all this other stuff. We think you'd be a great fit. I call them back a couple weeks later. They say, oh, we're not going to work with you. We don't want you. And since you don't have any food experience, we're not going to hire you to work in the cafe. It's like, I think the most grating is my rejection from when I applied to work at Gracie Dow. I had applied there. I was called in to take a test because for the city of Midland, you have to take a test. Took the test, didn't place very high, so I'm like, I'm never going to hear back from them. Heard back from them a few months, like a few weeks later. At that time, I was working at Yonkers, which is closed. Yonkers was my first job. I was working at Yonkers, and I got the call about going in for an interview. I went in for an interview. I thought it went really great. Most people at the library know me by sight, and I'm like, yay, I'm going to get a dream job. I'm going to work at the library. It's going to be awesome. And then a couple days later, I get a rejection letter. And the thing that hit me most about the rejection letter is the date on the letter was the date of my interview. So they sent me so I went in for an interview, and they were already planning to reject me because they already had the letter done. So I was like, why? Why do that? Why have me in for an interview if you already know you're going to reject me? So that is just what is so frustrating, especially trying to get a job in Midland. Because in Midland, you have to be somebody, you have to know somebody, you have to be all this and a bag of chips. And if you're not, well, you're lucky to get a job in basic retail, which is what I am. So it's very frustrating to me, to the point where I am probably today or tomorrow going to apply for at least 1 job, maybe 2, with the Walt Disney World, with the Disney Corporation for Walt Disney World. This is something I never thought I would see myself doing in a million years. I love Disney. I plan my dream Walt Disney World vacation every single year, and I have since I was a kid. I can tell you, you can give me a quiz about Disneyland or Disney World, and I will ace it with perfect or near perfect scores. That is how much I know about Disney World, about their events, about special tours. I could rattle off a list about all the rides, everything. And so, since I know so much about the Disney parks, and people have told me, oh my gosh, why don't you apply to work at Disney? One, I'm a huge Disney fan, and two, like I said, I know like pretty much a ton of stuff about the Disney parks. I have never even been to the Disney parks, but you can sit down and give me a list of rides from Disneyland and Disney World, mix them all up, and I will tell you which rides are at which location and where, and in which park. Like, I can tell you what ride at Disney World is in which park, where at Disneyland, Disney California, and everything. I can do that. I've never been to the parks. I've never done anything like that, and yet I know. So, yeah, that's how crazy obsessed Disney I am. People told me, you should get a job at Disney, and I'm like, yeah, I always brush it off, because I'm a Michigan girl. I don't do very well in heat and humidity, and I'm like, yeah, I could never live in Florida. I mean, literally, I make the joke, Disney would be the only thing to get me to Florida, because I don't really like the heat or humidity, but for Disney, I would do it. So I always brush people off saying, yeah, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to apply. And yet I am at this point where I have actually gone and looked at jobs at Disney World and go, I'm not sure. Because since I'm not interning, I'd have to find my own place. I don't have the money right now to get my own place because of my job. I don't have a car or anything like that. That's a list of things I need to have. And so I've never really applied. And now it's gotten to this point. And in fact, just a few weeks ago on my birthday when I went to get my hair done on the 8th, Dawn, the stylist, we were talking about Disney, and she could not believe how much I knew about Disney, how much I love Disney. She had worked at Disney. She was like, why don't you apply to work at Disney? I'm like, yeah, and I just brushed it off because I'm such a Michigan girl, I don't want to leave. But it's gotten to that point where, for once, I'm going to put my application in with Disney. And I have said this. I posted on Facebook the other night. I'm just going to put my application in. I told my mom, and she's like, how are you going to afford to move down there? I'm like, chances are they won't even bother interviewing me. So I don't think I would even be able to get the job. I'm just going to apply for it for fun to say, hey, I applied at Walt Disney World. However, one of my friends on SOTAR that belong to a guild, they are in contact with a lady who works at Walt Disney World. And they said if I really am serious about getting a job at Walt Disney World, they would put me in contact with this woman. They don't think she can do anything to help me get the job, but they never know. So I'm seriously thinking about doing that. Simply because, just to see how far I'd get in the process. Oh, look. You can kind of see the wind. Oh, watch. I go to film and the tree's going to stop blowing. Oh, it's kind of blowing. That's how I know how windy it is when this thing really starts rocking, this pine tree right here. Because even if it's really windy, that pine tree right there, that fat one, doesn't really move. So when it's really windy, that thing is like rocking back and forth. I know it's windy and I'm hungry because I skipped breakfast today. So... yeah, so wish me luck, you guys, because I'm going to try applying for Walt Disney World. And I'm not going to be applying for anything in the parks, though I might take a look and see. I am looking at working in customer relations, customer service, because that's something I want to do. I would like to be involved in the tourism industry, so I think working with Walt Disney World would be a great way. Like, go work at Walt Disney World for a few years. Maybe come back to Michigan and get involved with the tourism industry up here, because we could really use a boost. So I would love to get some experience in the tourism industry, and I think Disney would help that. So I'm looking at something customer service related to helping guests get like tickets and schedule reservations and get information to them, stuff like that. Be like a help desk person. So just because since I have that wealth of Disney knowledge, I think it'd work out great. So that's what I'm looking at doing in the coming days. And also, update on my yoga. My yoga is doing great. My body hates me. Like, seriously, I was doing, it's Sunday, and on Sundays and Wednesdays, I do sore muscle yoga. So I do yoga that's supposed to help you with your sore muscles. And I went to do a what's called a supine spinal twist, I think is how you say it. Or basically, you take your one leg, and so you take, like, your left leg, your right leg, pull it across your body. And so it's on the opposite side of your left leg. Then twist by laying your right arm straight out and keeping it flat on the floor. See, it hurts. Flat on the floor and turning your chin to face that direction. I was doing that, did okay with my right side, went to do my left side, so I pulled my left leg over my right side, went to stretch out my left arm, and all of a sudden I went, ah! It hurt, and my right shoulder now hurts. So my body is screaming at me. It's not very happy that I'm still continuing to do it, but I think I am not going to let up. I am doing yoga twice a day. I do a 15 to 20 minute workout in the morning. And then practice in the morning, and then I do a 20-minute bedtime practice, which is supposed to get my body relaxed and ready for bed. I do that at night. So I do it twice a day, and there are some days where my body is not in pain, just today, because for the past 3 days, I found a new yoga practice for flexibility, which is a 20-minute thing, and I've been loving it. Here's the thing. I'm not the type of person who would think of like fast walking, jogging, running. I'm not the type of person who would think of yoga as those are not things I would think of doing, like not even a year ago. But now I'm liking them. I said yoga's really hard. And I'm such a Star Wars fan. Half the time I go to say yoga, I will say Yoda. That is bad. Stereotypical Star Wars fan. Yoga is hard, but I'm also really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, and it is keeping me in shape. So I'm having a ton of fun. So I'm going to try to start this routine where on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do a workout, a fat burning workout with yoga. On Mondays and Mondays and Fridays, I do the flexibility. Saturdays, I do a full workout or close to a workout, which will include a warm up, a 15-minute thing, a 10-minute thing, and then a cool down. And then Sundays and Wednesdays, I will do a sore muscles, and then I do another yoga. There's another routine I do a couple days a month, which is very nice. Oh, my right shoulder's really killing me. And sorry about my eye. I slept in today, which was kind of nice. I didn't get up till almost 9, which it makes me really happy that we didn't go to church today because I would not be ready. Because church is at 9:30, and we usually leave by 9:15. So yeah, so that's that. This week on the menu, I might be doing a couple interesting things. My tax refund gets here tomorrow. Yes. One thing I might be doing, I'm not too sure about it now, is I might be going out and getting a new tablet. So this is an Amazon Kindle Fire. I just got this about a year ago. This is my second tablet from Amazon. I had a Kindle. And then my mom a couple years ago got my brother and I a Kindle Fire. And this one I just got myself. And I have had pretty much every single Kindle from Amazon I've had issues with. I had the Kindle, and then I was having so much issues with just the original Kindle that I got a tablet from Walmart. And then my mom went and was a cheap tablet, so it wasn't that great. Then my mom went out and there was a sale, so she got my brother and I each refurbished Amazon Fires, which are great. That lasted me a couple years, and then I started having issues with it, and that it didn't like to be charged. Like I would plug it in, it would say it would be charging, and it would be discharging, and that was not fun. And then, so about a year or so ago, I got this new one. It's a Kindle Fire 7, and it was like $90. So I got it, and it was great. And then last night, I had plugged it in earlier today. It was charging. I very rarely will turn this off, especially if I'm listening to an audiobook at night. This does not get turned off. If I don't listen to an audiobook, then it gets turned off. But usually, the only time it's off is when I'm not using it or I'm not home. Usually it's on. So that might be part of the reason. And I had plugged it in, it had charged, and when I play SOTAR, I take it and I plug it into my computer, charge it, because I will actually use that to look up things for SOTAR, like mission hints, walkthroughs on how to defeat bosses and stuff like that. And usually I plug it into my computer, it's fine, it will charge. And last night it would not charge, it would just charge. I went and got the cord for my phone charger, plugged that in, it was still not working. So luckily I turned it off, turned it back on, it seems to be working fine now, it seems to be charging normally. So I might give it a couple weeks and see, because I really don't want to get another tablet after just getting this one, and it's snowing. Just looked up and it's snowing. So that's something I'm going to be watching this week. Also this week, surprisingly, I normally don't do this. I just went out with my friend Aaron S. for my birthday. We went and had lunch, and he bought me a cute little puppy back there that I named Sentai. And he wants to hang out more, which is something I like to hang out, but he wants to hang out like every week. That's not me, like once or twice a month. I'm good. But he wants to go bowling. He has to buy like bowling. And I said, sure. He's like, let's go bowling. And I'm like, okay. I haven't gone bowling in years. And again, this might surprise people. I do like bowling. Unlike my brother and my dad, I never did competitive leagues. My brother did them for many years, and my dad still does them. And they have both gone to like regional and state for like, they're not big leagues, they're minor leagues, so they're not pro. It's like informal hobby bowlers. But they have gone to like regional and state and have done really well. So I said, yeah, my dad and my brother did competitive bowling. Kind of a little thing I like to do, and I discovered it by accident, is I neglected to tell him I'm actually a pretty decent bowler. Because not only did my brother do competitive leagues, and my dad still does them, almost every family member on my dad's side of the family has done league bowling for competitively. Most of my cousins on my dad's side of the family were actually members of high school bowling teams. My grandma Letts, before she passed away, was bowling up until she got sick, and was one of the top bowlers in her senior league. So I did not tell him that I'm a pretty decent bowler because I've been trained by some pretty amazing bowlers. So I'm not sure if he knows that, but in fact that was my parents' first date. They went bowling. So I neglected to tell him that I was taught how to bowl by my competitive bowling family. Like literally one of my first memories from my childhood is my dad and one of my uncles on my mom's side of the family taking me to like Bay City to a bowling alley at a church so they could teach me how to bowl. Oh my gosh. And some of my best moments with my dad's side of the family, like literally almost everyone on my dad's side of the family would be in the same league, and so they would do these like banquets, and so I'd go to these banquets with my dad. My brother and I would go to these banquets with my dad, and it'd be like a gigantic family reunion because we were either related to everybody in the league, or everyone in the league knew our family. So like everybody, so it's like, especially at Northern, which is where they bowl, it's like awesome because it's like it's my family. But we're going to Valley Lanes, which is a bowling alley that's part of the Best Western Hotel, which is down in that direction on the other side of town, pretty much near the border of the city limits. That's where we're going. And that is, Valley Lanes is not just a bowling alley. They have to have an arcade and putt-putt, and I think mini bumper cars and some laser thing. So I think we're going to go do a full thing where we go do bowling and putt-putt. We're also going to eat at this place. I want to say it's called Gimmicks or something that he really likes, so we're going to go eat there. So it's like going to be like a full day, which will be nice. So that's what I'm doing Friday. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film anything or not because I'm not sure how he would appreciate it. He knows I vlog. I've just never really done it in front of him. So I don't know if he would appreciate it. So I don't know what's going on. Other than that, it's pretty much going to be just another boring old week. I have Monday and Tuesday off. I work Wednesday, then I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So, yay! So I'm going to get going so I can post this later today, and I will talk to you guys soon. So stay safe and stay sane. I'm sending you all lots of love, hugs, and prayers. Bye, guys.